Hi, my name is Andre. This is our kitchen science project, and today I'm going to be making fluffy pancakes. This recipe I found from allrecipes.com, so we're going to take a stab at it. So first of all, we have our milk and vinegar mixture here, and we combined this 5 minutes ago and let it sit in regards to time. And what this is going to do, it's going to act as sort of a substitute for the buttermilk. And when added to the baking powder and soda, it will react to them and form a fizzing reaction. And this will help the pancakes rise and create the fluffiness that they have. So, and the reaction also cancels out the sourness that would be had right now if you were to drink the milk and vinegar by itself. So you have no taste of that, and it will just be airy and tasty. Another job of the milk is going to be to react with the flour to form gluten chains, which will link end to end. So we have that sitting, and that's been sitting. So now we're going to take a look at some of our dry ingredients. We have here, this is our flour, and the flour is made from wheat, and this is all-purpose enriched flour, and it's enriched to add nutrients lost during the harvesting, milling, and bleaching processes. So the gluten is going to form, it's made up of gliadin and glutenin, and those are going to form when the milk is added to the substance. So next, we're going to take our salt, and we're going to add the salt to the mixture. It was 1 cup of flour, and this is now, let's see, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So we'll go ahead and add that. So what the salt does, it's going to add structure to the gluten. It's going to act by straightening the gluten. Extracting unwanted moisture allows the gluten to hold more water and CO2 so that it can expand while still maintaining its structure. Another thing that the salt does is it keeps the CO2 bubbles from expanding too rapidly, and this slowing allows the flavor to develop once this is mixed with the milk and vinegar. So next, we're going to add the sugar. We have how much sugar? We have 2 tablespoons of sugar there. So what the sugar is going to do is it is going to react with the Maillard reaction, and it's also going to do some of the caramelization. So in the Maillard reaction, the sucrose is going to be broken down because of the decreased pH, which is added with the vinegar, which is an acidic solution, and the increased heat when it's put on the stove. And this is going to break down the sucrose into glucose and fructose, which these are 2 reducing sugars. These reducing sugars then bind to the amino groups from the milk and the eggs, which we'll add later. And the heat is going to accelerate this reaction, and in the end it's going to add flavor and brown pigments to the product. The caramelization that occurs is when sucrose breaks apart into the glucose and fructose, and the reducing sugars react with the heat to start to brown, forming a caramel. And the caramel flavor depends on how long that you cook it. You cook it longer, you'll get a darker flavor, more of a burn flavor, and the less you cook it, the less intense the flavor. Also, the brown crusted surface created is going to act as sort of a shell for the pancakes that we make. It's going to help keep them fresh and add flavor so that they last longer. So next here we have 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And baking powder is a combination of baking soda and an acidic agent, which is cream of tartar, as well as a drying agent, which is cornstarch. The cornstarch is added to keep moisture out of the container during the storage process and keeping it from reacting. So next we have the baking soda, and this is 1 teaspoon. And baking soda is sodium bicarb, but without an acid. So what it needs in the pancake mix is an acid to react with, and that is another area where the vinegar comes in. So baking powder and baking soda are both leavening agents, and these help to aerate the batter, causing the cake in this instance to rise and contributing to its chew and density. The gas produced during the mixing process and heating process will create bubbles, and this must, once it's mixed with the liquid, will be cooked in a timely manner so that it has time to react and doesn't have too much time. So next we're going to beat the egg and the butter into the soured milk. So we have our soured milk. This is our melted butter. We have 2 tablespoons of melted butter. We're going to add that. And then we have 1 egg. We're going to add that. We're going to beat that in. So the butter in this case is a lipid, and it acts to add flavor to the substance. And the egg acts as an emulsifier to allow the lipid and the milk to combine properly and stay combined during the cooking process. If they aren't combined properly, it can mess up the distribution of the tastes and the aromas. So it's important for the emulsifier as well as the stirring and shearing force to break apart the lipids to make the surface area larger to create more of an aroma for it to mix. So next we're going to add this to our dry substance, and we're going to go ahead and mix it. So there we just added our milk, vinegar, egg, and butter to all of our dry substances that we already discussed. And we're going to go ahead and mix it until it's smooth. And you can see bubbles already forming a little bit. And that's the vinegar reacting with the baking powder and baking soda. So we'll come back in a second for our final step.